Breaking news, breaking news, breaking mother humping news. The Eagles are interviewing their first candidate for offensive coordinator by interviewing Zac Robinson, the former offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. He will be the first candidate, and we'll see if he gets it. In this video, I'm going to tell you, though, who I really want. Now, let's get started. Howie Roseman had a message for Eagle fans that he delivered, and it should scare the rest of the NFL. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kick Dig back here, and so the Eagles spoke yesterday, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, and what I took out of it was a lot more positive than maybe a lot of people, because to me, I know that this is the key, this is the fact that is true when it comes to the Eagles. It has been year in and year out since around 2016. When Howie Roseman is aggressive in the offseason, the Eagles usually go really far in the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl, if not to win. When he kind of takes a step back, things take a step back. And by all indications, what I got out of this press conference yesterday was the Eagles, they're going hard this offseason. And it's going to start with the key, getting the right offensive coordinator. But I do want to talk about a few things first. First thing, as you guys have seen this for a few days, we talked about this on my last stream. Jordan Schultz reported sources, the Pound Cowboys are requesting permission to interview Pound Eagles defensive back coach and pass game coordinator Christian Parker for their vacant DC job. Parker, who has been coaching since age 22, has received DC interviews in the past and has been key part of Vic Fangio's defenses. Both Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell were named first-team All-Pros under Parker coaching this past season. He is a great coach. He is a fantastic coach. And if I'm the Eagles, I do everything I can to keep him. And what I mean by that is, what I would do is I would go to him and I would say, listen, we want you here. We want you long-term. And you are our future defensive coordinator after Fangio leaves. That's what we want. So we're going to pay you more money. We're going to pay you like a defensive coordinator. And we want you to stay with us and then eventually take that defensive coordinator job. If you don't do it with him, you got to do it with Clint Hurt. One of those two guys have to be the future defensive coordinator. And my prayer, my dream is that both those guys, Hurt and Parker, would be retained. Even Bobby King is a great coach for the linebackers. So we do got to worry about Christian Parker going to Dallas. Hopefully they stick with Jonathan Gannon, okay? It's going to be a very interesting offseason because a lot of people think, and the other day I was on Cilio Show and Mark's talking about how the Eagles' window is closed, or it's closing. Our window is closing every year, apparently, to people. But the truth is, we have a nucleus, man. We have a young nucleus, and we just got to tweak it the right way, in the right direction, and we can get right back to the Super Bowl. We really can. Now that I've kind of gotten over the loss and, accepted it, I feel excited about this offseason and what's coming. And this weekend, we got a bunch of games coming. Here is what I'm planning to do. Are you sick of being robbed by the sports books? I am. Well, then Polymarket is for you. And what is it, you ask? Polymarket is the revolutionary prediction market everyone is absolutely obsessed with right now. Legal and live in all 50 states, instant trades, total control. You're trading against people and not the house. All right, so when we look at round 2 of the playoffs, the Birds not in it. There is one game that stands out to me that I really like on Polymarket, and that is Buffalo-Denver. And if you look, the Buffalo Bills got a 75% chance to win this game. I would love to go for the underdog, but I got to go Buffalo because I agree. So I'm going to put $200 on the Bills. I think they win this game. It's incredible. Everyone's going crazy over it. And the most awesome part, downloading the app with the link below and using my code Philly500 unlocks exclusive early access. Early access plus $10 completely free. No deposit, no card, nothing. Don't miss out and join the revolution. But I do want to say this. One of the things that came out of the press conference yesterday that more people are not talking about was a message Howie kind of gave Eagle fans. And I thought it was really interesting, and I think it says a lot. Here is what Howie said at the end of the press conference. Zach Berman wrote this. Howie Roseman wanted to add 1 point for the fans at the end of his news conference today. Quote, can I clarify one thing? I think it's important for our fans to understand you can do whatever it takes to win now and still build for the future and still have those parallel paths. I just don't want it to get confused that we can't do whatever it takes to build a championship caliber team next year and also continue to have really good players on this team for the future. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page with that. Howie is putting that out there because he is telling you we are going hardcore this offseason. This is going to be a big offseason, and it's going to be a mix of bringing in young guys and drafting guys and also getting veteran guys that can help put you over the top and put you back into the game. I think this is an amazing statement by Howie Roseman. I really do, and I think it says a lot. And knowing Howie and how aggressive he can be, this is fantastic. And let me tell you, when Howie's aggressive, the Eagles usually are successful the following season, okay? It's just the way it is. So we got a lot to be excited about, and there's a lot of decisions that are going to be made, and there's going to be tough ones. One of the other things I got out of the press conference, and I'm sorry I couldn't do a video on this yesterday. I've got to kind of reschedule all my Thursdays now that we don't have Thursday Night Football because everything was kind of centered around being able to do that. So that's why there was nothing yesterday. But Howie kind of talked about getting rid of A.J. Brown, and I think he hinted really, really strongly. And this could be part negotiation too, but he really hinted strongly that you don't just give up players like that when you're trying to win. You don't just give up A.J. Browns because you're trying to win. So I think it's going to be very hard to trade for a team to trade for A.J. Brown. They're going to have to pay an arm and a leg, and Howie Roseman is not going to just give him up for nothing. And I'm telling you, the value that a lot of people think you would get and think teams will offer you is not going to be the case. They are not going to offer you first-round picks. They're not going to offer you second-round picks. They are going to look at him as an older wide receiver. They're going to try to say that his stats were down. Maybe he's lost a step. They're going to do whatever they can to devalue him, to give the Eagles somewhere around a fourth-round pick. You're better off keeping him, drafting another wide receiver in the draft at some point, and then going from there, okay? So I thought that pretty much it's going to be very hard for A.J. Brown to go anywhere, which is a good thing. Now, what you have to do with A.J. Brown is simple. It's simple. You've got to get him to buy back into this offense. Hurts spoke at the end of the year about him and A.J.'s relationship, said that they're in a very good place. That's good. But you've got to get A.J. Brown excited about this offense, okay? And I keep seeing people saying, well, you can't run this with Hurts and you can't run that with Hurts, so you're really limited. Here's the issue, right? If you're going to say Jalen Hurts is a limited quarterback and that he can win if you put talent around him, okay? All right, fine. Now you're going to say that receivers like A.J. Brown don't want to play for the Eagles because of the style of offense they run because Jalen Hurts is limited. But Jalen Hurts, in order to win, needs those talented players. Well, how are you going to get those talented players to come if you're running the prevent offense? You're not going to be able to do it. So this finding an offensive coordinator, it can't just be about Jalen Hurts. It has to be about a coach, a coordinator who's going to come in and up up the talent level, up the play rather. Play to their ability. Maximize the talent you have on offense. That's what you need. So it may not be a prevent offense or the perfect offense for Jalen Hurts. They may ask him to do a lot more than he did in the past. Well, if you're going to keep talented players around Jalen Hurts, you're going to have to play that game. And that's why I think that the guy for the job is Mike McDaniel. As you know, he is my first choice for the job. I like his style offense. I like his creativity. I thought Howie and Nick kind of talked about, creativity, somebody that has a vision of what this offense should be. Now, I will say this about any coach, and I truly believe this, and this was a Dick Vermeil said this long ago. He said, the good coaches aren't the coaches that shove a system specifically down your throat. They're the coaches that look at the talent that they have around them and what they have on their roster, and they develop according to that. That's what he's talking about, Dick Vermeil, when talking about a good coach, and I agree with him. So if you go out and get a Mike McDaniel, he may have a system he loves to run, but I also think he's a good enough coach to adjust that system to fit the players he has on the team, including Jalen Hurts. So I think Mike McDaniels would be a fantastic choice. Now, I know a lot of people don't like him, okay? They don't think he would be, but I do. Todd Monken is another name that has come up. He was with the Ravens. I think he would be a great pick. You have Kevin Stefanski, although I don't know. It sounds like he may get a head coaching job. He would be another good pick. We've heard a lot about Brian Daboll. I think Daboll's. I'm just going to be honest. I think most of these guys are better than what we had. So they're all going to be upgrades. But if you ask me who would my number one choice and hope for offensive coordinator be, it would be Mike McDaniel. And I don't think the Eagles are worried about a guy coming in and being here for one more year. Because Howie talked about this, and he said, listen, if we're winning, and that's one of the things that go along with winning is we have to replace the coordinator, so be it. But what it means if he goes is we were pretty successful. So I think they're looking for an established coordinator, and I don't think Nick is going to share in the control of the offense. Nick talked about wanting to be a head coach and not wanting to really get involved in that and just kind of manage. So I think we're going to get a new offensive coordinator. We're going to get a new offense. And the question is who do you want? Who will maximize the talent that you have on this offense? Because it's spectacular. You just got to do it. You got to clean up that offensive line as well. So I would say if you had to ask me my top choices, I would go McDaniel. Then I would go Cliff Kingsbury. He'd probably be number 2. Kevin Stefanski would be number 3. Let's see, who else? Those would be my top 3. Top 4, I guess you could throw a guy like Daboll in there and stuff. I just don't know about Daboll. I don't know if he would be the guy. I need a guy that can maximize this team's talent. And when you watch and you listen to Mike McDaniel, I think he's the guy for us. I really, really do. Now, changing gears here for a second, we've got playoffs this weekend. We've got divisional round of the playoffs, and I know many of you Eagle fans, I get it. You don't feel like watching football. It's depressing and things like that. But for those that love football anyways and can't stop watching it, even if the Eagles aren't playing like me, I'm going to be streaming. And here's kind of what I think. Since we can't do a preview prediction for the Eagles, we'll do one for the rest of the playoffs. So the first game we got on Saturday, we'll be streaming. We got the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. I don't know really what to expect from Denver. They got a young quarterback, not really a lot of playoff experience, but the coach does, and he has a lot of success. So this is going to be interesting. Denver's a hard place to play, but I continue to think this is Josh Allen's time. Josh Allen, if you're going to make a run to the Super Bowl, this has got to be the year. So I'm going to take the Bills over the Broncos. Then you got the Niners and the Seahawks. Seahawks well rested, coming off a big win on the Niners. I think it's going to be a much closer game than people think, but I'm going to take Seattle at the end of the day. So bye-bye 49ers. I'll feel much better about that. Then on Sunday we've got, and I think this is one of the most fascinating teams, the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. Did you see Milton Williams in that Patriot game? He was dominating. I mean, dominating. And as far as the Texans go, if Stroud continues to turn over the ball, they're not going to win. They're just not going to win. He turned over the ball way too many times and got away with it because of a good defense. So you got New England and Texans. I'm going to go upset. Upset alert. Texans beat the Patriots. The defense, they come to play, and I'm going to say that they're going to actually win this game, setting up an AFC Championship game, Buffalo and the Texans. Then you have, and I think this is the best game of the weekend, to be honest with you, the Bears and the Rams. Chicago, it's going to be cold, windy city. You got Stafford. Look, Stafford, he may be he may be out in L.A., but he has played in Chicago plenty. He knows it. So I think the winner of this game is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I'm going to take the Bears. The Bears at home, and the Bears, in my opinion, their ability to run the ball is going to do the Rams in. So I got the Bears in this game. I hope you guys will be joining me. Should be a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you guys later. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. You know, with all these draft picks this year, it's going to be interesting to see what the Eagles do and how and where they go in the draft. I really kind of feel like this, just basic, and we'll talk more about this later, but I just kind of feel like this. Defensively, I wouldn't mind going out in free agency and spending money. Offensively, I think I would go draft and try to get young offensive players in here who will be, will develop and be the future of this team. You're going to have to eventually start paying the defense more than the offense. And so right now, I think, if you could go out and trade for a Crosby, if you could go out and you can, get a Myles Garrett. I'm not saying you can, but or something like that. I think you do it, and I think you go young on offense. Get young offensive linemen. I don't care if you want to get another young running back for the future. Get another receiver. You're definitely going to need a tight end as well. Going to be an interesting offseason. With that said, Denzel Washington out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.